Hello watch lovers! Now, looking for your first luxury watch can be a daunting task. There are just so many brands and models to choose from, and that's without even talking about micro brands, don't get me started. However, there's always been one brand that has stood out from the crowd. A brand everyone should experience, first watch or not, and that's Longines. It's the ultimate affordable luxury watch brand, and here's why. Looking to buy, sell or exchange a luxury watch? Then visit Watchfinder.com. Longines is a remarkable watchmaker with almost 200 years of experience. That's 16 more than Omega and 73 more than Rolex. Founded in 1832 by Auguste Agassiz and Ernest Francillon in the small Swiss town of Saint-Imier, where they constructed a workshop for assembling watches. At that time, the components were all made in the homes of local watchmakers, so in 1867, Francillon decided to gather up all of these local artisans under one roof and establish a mechanised production system for creating high quality and precise watches. And in a nearby field, he built a factory. And what was the name of that field, I hear you ask, and that's a pertinent question, I commend you. Well, the field was locally known as Les Longines, meaning long meadows. Francillon liked the name and decided to keep it for the brand. And the factory was a symbol of his vision and pioneering spirit and is still operational in that same field to this day. And that pioneering spirit even extended to the fight against counterfeiters. Yep, that's right, fakes were floating about even in the 1800s. So to protect his creations from counterfeits, every timepiece that left that factory was engraved with a serial number, the Longines trading name, and the winged hourglass logo. And this was before trademarks were even a thing. But when trademark laws were introduced in 1818, Francillon registered the brand, making Longines the oldest trademark in watchmaking. Longines' trademark move wouldn't be its only first in the watchmaking world, however. While the brand would produce its first chronograph movement all the way back in 1878, a constant pursuit for timekeeping accuracy through the years would see it produce the first wrist chronograph in 1913, the first high-frequency pocket chronograph in 1929, the first wristwatch with rotating bezel in 1931, and patent the world's first flyback chronograph in 1936. Then, from as early as 1949, Longines would adopt quartz technologies to make its timing of sporting events as precise as possible. And even now, Longines' pursuit of accuracy hasn't wavered, and in 2010, it even built a device accurate to a millionth of a second called the quantum timer. And these achievements wouldn't go unnoticed. Longines watches would be seen on the wrist of some of the most influential pilots and explorers, like Amelia Earhart, Charles Lindbergh, Howard Hughes, and many more. And if those testimonies as to accuracy and reliability of Longines watches weren't enough, the brand would also go on to keep time for some of the world's most prestigious sporting events, like the Tour de France between 1951 and 1987, the Formula One between 1982 and 1992, and the Commonwealth Games, which Longines has been the timekeeping partner of since 1962. Now, in recent times, amongst the timekeeping giants that are Rolex, Tag Heuer and Omega, Longines is somewhat overshadowed. But for us, avid wristwatch enjoyers, this can be used to our advantage. Because not many brands can offer what Longines can at the price Longines can. Heritage, precision, reliability, affordability, especially pre-owned, and one thing we haven't spoken about yet, choice. Longines' extensive collection and back catalogue of designs mean that it can cater for just about any taste. You could even build a pretty comprehensive collection within the brand itself. So if you're in the market for a dive watch, then Longines excels in underwater wearables for telling time. There's the excellent Hydro Conquest, and then there's this, the Legend Diver. This is a certified diver's watch revamped from Longines' original 1959 model. Instantly recognisable and immediately readable, thanks to its rich lacquer dial with rhodium-plated polished arrow hands and superluminova coated markers, along with the distinctive inner bezel, rotatable via one of the 2 crowns on the side. The case is beautifully finished and there's a splendiferously curved crystal over the dial. Comes in a range of sizes, making for a comfortable daily wear, and despite its sleek and stylish appearance, this is a performance dive watch with a COSC certified chronometer movement. If you're looking for something more subtle, with the elegance of a dress watch, then this, the Heritage Classic Sector Dial, will suit nicely. Another faithful recreation of one of Longines' historic models, this time from the 1930s. Showcasing the original Art Deco aesthetics with a sector dial layout featuring a 2-tone concentric circle display segmented into 4 quarters and outlined by railroad track markings. The concentric circles are carried through into the radial brushing on the outer portion of the dial and within the Zen garden-like texture of the subdial at 6 o'clock. The arrangement offers quick, precise time-telling at a glance. With its perfectly weighted hands and crisp lines, it's clear and balanced. This is a watch of perfect proportions and flawless execution. Now, with so many prominent aviators throughout history wearing Longines during their historic voyages, it makes sense that Longines is a go-to brand when it comes to pilots' watches, and this is the Longines Avigation BigEye. The BigEye refers to a large subdial on the right, a 30-minute chronograph counter with chunky 3-minute indicators, and the asymmetry of the BigEye is compounded by the prominent chronograph pushers on the side of the case, while the ornate subdial hands at 3 and 6 add characterful detail. But those details aren't just there to look interesting and cool, as much as that may be the case. They're all there to aid the readability and operation of this watch for pilots. This is a practical instrument watch that honours the long-established relationship between the brand and aviation. But mainly the watch just looks interesting and cool. In a similar vein, we have this Longines Heritage Military Watch, again inspired by a watch from the past, this time the military aviation watches from the 40s. This is a clear, uncomplicated watch. You get a very simple dial, no text bar the Longines logo, and with readable numerals and minute track. The only thing that comes close to a flourish is the 3 rather ornate looking blued hands that pop out against the creamy dial. But actually I suppose the dial surface itself is something of an embellishment, having been faux aged, tainted and speckled with flecks to appear directly from the era of which it's inspired. Not everyone's a fan of that kind of thing, but regardless it does bring a certain amount of warmth and charm to the watch, and with its comfortable round case in 38.5mm on a worn leather strap, it looks very stylish and characterful. And then to round it all off with a choice chronograph, the Longines Heritage Chronograph 1940. It has some really lovely details, most notably the high mirror polish on the case and handsome blocky lugs. The dial is exquisite, rich in vintage detail like the dual subdial arrangement and printed railroad track minute markings. You get a vertical brushed texture on the dial underneath the beautiful rose gold and polished rivet hour markers. This is another vintage reissue, as I'm sure you can tell by now, and I'm sure you can also tell by now why Longines is the ultimate affordable watch brand. Their fastidious approach to creating faithful reinterpretations of their classic watches demonstrates their dedication to celebrating and preserving the rich and storied history of the brand, while simultaneously offering enthusiasts exquisite and characterful timepieces, the likes of which you won't find anywhere else for the money. So there we go. A few reasons there as to why Longines is so awesome. And if you're looking for your next luxury watch, be it Longines or otherwise, then head over to Watchfinder.com, where you'll find a wide range of amazing watches from all the top brands. Check it out and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.